What could possibly go wrong with this? I can't think of anything, can you? The idea of taking Bluetooth connected computer chips and then implanting them in the spinal cords and brains of human beings? Could anything go wrong here? You see, Elon Musk is a man who has a lot of irons in the fire. See, when he's not busy sabotaging the presidential launch campaign of the only true Christian that has run for president in this country in my lifetime, he's got other things that he's working on in the background. And there's a story out today that should send a chill down the spine of every Christian around. You see, they are working on a way to be able to subtly control what you think and believe and program out your desire to have any kind of a spiritual life at all. Why are they doing that? Well, it's real simple. This is what they believe. They're secularists for so many years. Judaism and Islam and Christianity and Buddhism and all this has kind of been back and forth about which one is the right one. While there was this other group of people called secularists, atheists, who believe all religion is equally delusional. A delusion held by one person is a mental illness. Held by a few, it's a cult. Held by many, it's a religion. And they push this every chance they can. If you could reason with religious people, there would be no religious people. Of course, this is Hugh Laurie, the actor that played House. Last night, over at Restricted Republic, Lisa Haven and Justice Knight even referenced the coming persecution of Christians. Now, a lot of people have had a very 19th and 20th century of what they think persecution is going to look like. I don't think it's going to have anything to do with running off into the wilderness and tactically camping and, firefights and all this kind of stuff. No, they're going to find out a way in the name of health, in the name of living longer and, pay attention here, happier lives. Happier lives. They're going to take that as a guise to implant these chips so that they can be controlled. And they will literally program out all of your desire to have any kind of a spiritual life. Because there is this thing out there called what they refer to as hyper-religiosity. Hyper-religiosity is a psychiatric disturbance in which a person experiences intense religious beliefs or episodes that interfere with normal functioning, like fasting. Normal people don't just stop eating. Normal people don't speak in tongues. Hyper-religiosity generally includes abnormal beliefs and a focus on religious content or even atheistic content, which is kind of weird, which interferes with work and social functioning. I mean, the idea of secluding yourself off in prayer, away from people, and fasting, and worship. See, that's not social. That's not normal. They're going to attribute it to epilepsy, psychotic disorders, frontotemporal lobar degeneration, whatever the hell that is, Geschwind syndrome, behavioral phenomena evident in some people with temporal lobe epilepsy. It's named for one of the first individuals to categorize the symptoms. You can read on that. You see, they're going to call it a mental disorder. And then there's going to be a fix for it. You know what that fix is going to be? Well, guess what? Elon Musk has it waiting in the wings. Now, real quick, before we get into this, I want to say thank you. Always be diligent, because the Bible tells me to. And because I truly mean it, thank you to everyone who joins us here every day, agree or not, at the YouTube channel. Here we have to kind of keep everything all buttoned up, straight-laced. We can't really talk about things the way they need to be talked about. But over partnering with Vimeo at the Patreon channel, we can create this teeny tiny little speed bump. It's all it takes to keep the prying eyes of Google's censors away. Because they can't get through this, they can't get through unless they pay, and they're not allowed to. It's only $1 per month for the vast majority of the 280 videos over there. It's $1 a month. Fully refundable first 90 days. There's also a $5 level for those that you want to step up, and everybody, $1 or $5, if they choose to sign up for an entire year, gets a 10% discount. So truly, it's 90 cents per month, at the $1 level and $4.50 per month at the $5 level. So, but for all of you, every single one of you, first 90 days, fully refundable, no matter how you sign up. So would love to have you over there. Thank you, everyone who has showed up. I very, very much appreciate it. Now, this word, happy, as in pursuit of happiness. Then Jesus said to his disciples, if anyone wishes to come after me, he must deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. To be a Christian, the fundamental precept is the denial of self. There's no way around this. There's no way of saying, well, I can be happy and do what I want to do because that's what Jesus... That's not what being a Christian is. You see, we have in the Constitution, it says, hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, those being among them life, liberty, and you have to pay attention to the use of words here. Pursuit of happiness. Now, this word happiness has its root in the word luck, as in happenstance. Happiness, happenstance. Trying your luck. Seeking out your good fortune. It's actually the worship of the Greek god Tyche, the goddess of chance. Here's the entire thing. And we've talked about this very strange thing. When has it ever been the case, and this is an honest question, it's not a gotcha question, when has it ever been the case that whenever you have given humans, no matter who they are, whenever they lived, the ability to go pursue their own happiness, that it has not almost immediately led to vice? Because humans, chasing their own happiness, will do what is pleasing to the flesh. The lust of the eye, the lust of the flesh, and the pride of life. That's what humans will do. A God-given right to literally deny God is literally what the pursuit of happiness means. Because one had to be taught why following Christ is preferable, even though it's the denial of self. One does not naturally have that ingrained and endowed in them. Now, these billionaire types, they absolutely want the status quo. They want things just like they are. They don't want anyone upsetting the apple cart. I asked this yesterday, and some people didn't even listen to the question. They're like, well, I would definitely want my kids to do better than I did. Are you a billionaire? No. If you're not a billionaire, you can't answer the question. But if you were, how in the world would you say, no, I want my kids to do something totally different than me. I have $10 billion in the bank. But nobody would ever say that. Now, here's your story. You ready for this? Musk's brain implant firm gets approval for human trials. Neuralink aims to solve a range of medical complaints by implanting a chip into the subject's skull. Now, I'm sure a lot of you have seen the guy walking. You think, well, that's a good idea, Maquis. Gosh, this guy's been trapped in a wheelchair and now he can walk. Oh, but it gets better. Elon Musk's brain implant company, which hopes to use its technology to treat conditions such as paralysis and blindness, has been cleared to conduct human trials after it received approval from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, the firm announced on Thursday. We are excited to share that we have received the FDA's approval to launch our first in-human clinical study, Neuralink said in a post on Twitter. Musk had predicted. Funny, that post didn't crash. You would have thought the whole world would have been interested in that post. Why didn't that crash Twitter? Interesting. Neuralink sent a post on Twitter. Musk had predicted on several prior occasions that the technology would be cleared for testing, but a previous application in 2022 was denied by the FDA. The approval is an important first step that will, and here's where you got to really pay attention. This is really where you have to pay attention. This is a big deal. Important first step that will one day allow our technology to help many people. The result of incredible work by the Neuralink team in close collaboration with the FDA. Musk has previously stated that his ambition is for Neuralink to, here's where you have to take a breath, restore full body functionality to someone who has a severed spinal cord. In addition to helping to treat issues of mobility or vision impairment, Musk said Neuralink could also benefit people with depression, schizophrenia, and autism, or any other mental disorder. Now, ready to have your mind blown? What if what they're saying is true, and they can take the head of a man who is permanently disabled, like the guy on the left, sever his spinal cord, remove his head, and put it onto the body of a woman. Then what? What is that resultant creature? Having clearly chromosomes in the head that would be XY, chromosomes in the rest of the body that would be XX. What would that be? If you could take someone who, let's say someone decides their life isn't worth really living anymore and they decide to put one in the old cranium. I'll just leave it there. I'll let you guys figure out what I'm talking about. Rest of the body perfectly fine, but then you have this person over here where the head's perfectly fine, the body's completely shot. This is what they're talking about. Now add in the chips. You could program, and oh, by the way, don't think they're not working on this. They've done this with monkeys and they've done it with rats. You could program said person to be whatever you wanted them to be. And program away anything you want. Now, this is where I'm going to make a bit of a left turn here. This has bothered a lot of people. I've talked about this. There are folks out there that live in relationships that are somewhat unorthodox. A couple times a year, perhaps, they go on separate vacations, handing each other a hall pass and saying, have fun. Don't want to hear about it when I see you in 2 weeks. Have a great time. There are folks down here in Florida, older folks, they get together, they have their little parties, everybody shows up, they all know each other, they all toss their keys in a bowl, and then the ladies at the end of the night just grant a random set of keys, and everybody goes home with somebody else. We've talked about this. And of course, we've talked about this issue too, where there's people that live in very strange, but yet happy relationships. Remember that whole pursuit of happiness thing? And then all of a sudden a bunch of moralists come out and say, well, that's wrong, it's all wrong, it's all immoral. What if a bunch of moralists got a hold of these chips and decided that they were going to program away all of this unauthorized happiness? All of this stuff that they think is just morally bad for society. We don't need this. And they got a hold of it. A lot of people have forgotten about this. Trump, why do I have to repent or ask for forgiveness if I'm not making mistakes? As if that's what repentance is all about. Well, what would be better than just programming someone to never make a mistake, to never have to do anything that they have to repent for? Just program it. Just put it right in the chip. Put it right in the chip. They'll never have any desire to go outside of their marriage. They'll never have any desire to overeat, never have any desire to get angry or anything like that. That's all programmable. See, it's always the good intentions that pave the road to hell. Paralyzed man walks with a device that connects brain and spinal cord. No issue with that at all, but that's not how this is going to be used. That is absolutely not how this is going to be used. And in that particular case, sometimes you could reprogram, you could regrow an entire spine. And they have a step-by-step plan for it right here. Small biopsy of tissue, genetic reprogramming to return the fat cells to embryonic cells, personalized hydrogel, engineer the stem cell implants. Pretty soon, abracadabra, brand new spinal cord. And then in the human. That's what this guy's doing when he's not sabotaging presidential launch campaign launches. That's who this guy is. And don't think for 1 minute, I know a lot of people are probably going to have an issue with me saying this, that Trump did this. Trump, listen to me. Musk, they're the same thing to me. How many people out there came back with this idea when I pointed out that Trump had all these people around him that he couldn't trust? Well, keep your friends close and your enemies closer. Why wouldn't that apply to Musk? Wanting to get into the DeSantis campaign to sabotage it from within. would that not be something that you think that maybe perhaps those two cats could cook up? Maybe? Do you think it's something a couple of billionaires could have cooked up? It was only a year and some change ago that, Trump was all in love with Musk about reinstated on YouTube, reinstated on Twitter, reinstated all over the place. And he's a great guy. And then all of a sudden now, Musk is helping out DeSantis. But the one key thing DeSantis needed to do completely falls apart when it was an audio-only launch. Do you know how little space it takes up on a server to do an audio-only event? If it's an audio, there's no video, no personal interaction. There's absolutely no personal interaction there. It was audio only and it crashed. Give me a break. Give me a break. This was engineered. This was planned. This was something they cooked up together. Because they don't want a Christian in the White House. This is what they're going to do. They're going to put these little suckers in people in the name of helping them out. In the name of better health. Because they don't want you participating in hyper-religiosity. It's a psychiatric disturbance. And this is the wiki for it. And think of all of the things that you're supposed to do according to the Bible. And put that up next to this. It's going to be seen as a mental disorder. So, I will leave it there and let you folks talk about this down in the comment section. But truly, everyone who's joined me over at the Patreon channel is part of the Maquis now. Because what it does is it gives us a forum. It gives us a foothold. Who remembers the scene in The Patriot where Benjamin Martin and all of his guys are out in the swamp? And that's where their main hideout is. It's place really, really, really hard to get to. The British troops just can't get there. It's way out in the middle of the swamp. That's kind of what this is. It takes $1. It takes $5 to get there. But once we get out there, it's very, very difficult to see through a swamp. Once you've made it through, a half a mile or quarter mile, nobody can see you. Nobody can see what's going on. And that's where we're at. Basically a Maquis hideout in the swamp over at the Patreon channel. And we have the ability with Vimeo. Vimeo is basically our camouflage company. And we have camo up around the whole base. And we can sit down once in a while and we can have a discussion. And we can talk about things. We can take the gloves off. It's the best analogy I can think of. So, anyway, God bless. Like, share, subscribe. We'll see you guys next time.